Hello everyone. So today I have to do a presentation online for a solicitor in a mountain bike accident. It's a court case, it's a client versus the instructor. So first off, let's go over the definition so you're familiar with the phrasing I'm using in the presentation. So first off, you have hazards. Hazards are the danger itself. So say if you're kayaking and there's low hanging trees, the tree will be the hazard. Then you have risks, which would be the chance of something happening, so that would be like going into the tree. Then you have perceived risk. This is what clients who are unfamiliar with the outdoors perceive to happen. So say let's go for mountain biking, because that's what the presentation is about. It's falling off the bike, going over the handlebars and breaking your neck. It rarely happens, it's not a common thing in mountain biking, but that's what people that don't do mountain biking think is going to happen. The absolute risk would be like the most dangerous thing that could happen without any control in it. So that'd be banging your head and splitting your head open, I don't know, breaking your legs and things like that. Then the real risk is the risk that's there with controls and measures. So say hitting your head, but it's not the end of the world because you have a helmet on. So let's set the scene. This is a beginner mountain bike course with one instructor, one assistant. There's 3 clients at different skill levels. So one I think was like mountain biking a fair bit, but he just wanted to top up and just went on the course because why not? One was decent on a bike, not great, and one was a complete beginner. Had a mountain bike, cycled it to work, but that was as far as mountain biking went for them. So the location was Holmbury Hill in England, and the trail was Barry Knows Best. So the difficulty was intermediate, which for a lot of people that listen to this don't do mountain biking, so they know more about kayaking, so it'd be like say grade 2 plus, maybe 3. But that's for someone who's never done mountain biking, that's fairly hard for them. So here's setting the scene. This is a picture from Google Maps. Around, I think it's here, is where the person hurt themselves. You can see though there's serious bends. These are berms, these are sharp turns, and this isn't really ideal for someone who's never done mountain biking. So the backstory is there's this person, Mr. Ahmad, was a solicitor and an engineer. He owned a mountain bike for many years but only used it to get to and from work. He was interested in mountain biking and decided he wanted to give it a try. To be safe, he decided to get lessons instead of going off on his own because he didn't want to risk injuries. His first lesson was 2 hours long and it cost £75. The incident. Just over 1 hour into the session, the group arrived at a quick descent on the trail. On the descent there was bumps you have to avoid and like a few like roots coming over from trees that you like jump over. The first time Mr. Ahmad went down the trail he looked very sloppy, off balance, and it was very sketchy looking. The instructor said that he should try it again but with more speed so he'd have better balance. But Mr. Ahmad cycled as fast as he could at this, so therefore he had to go further up the hill to get more speed and have further to cycle. On his second descent his front wheel got caught on one of the bumps and he got launched over the handlebars. He landed on his forehead and cracked his skull and badly injured his spine. Mr. Ahmad, he was wearing a helmet, but like he was going full speed, and even with the helmet he still done damage to his skull. If it wasn't for the helmet he probably would have died. Mr. Ahmad will now have to spend the rest of his life in a wheelchair as he's paralysed from the waist down. Here you can see the trail. It doesn't look that steep, but this is a picture, but you can see how close the branches are and you're going to have to be doing a lot of bobbing and swerving. And just where this picture is taken, just under it, there's this like root and there's dirt going over it, and that's the bumpy into. You're supposed to lift your front wheel and let your back wheel bump into it, but Mr. Ahmad just ploughed straight into it, his front, and it just somersaulted him. So they went to court, and the court ruled 80% of the blame on the instructor with the remaining 20% on Mr. Ahmad himself. The instructor got so much of the blame because he'd done a number of things wrong. Like the trail was too advanced for beginners, and he should have assessed the level of the group before bringing them on such an advanced trial. Like, he should have got them like going up and down curbs in the parking lot, or set out cones and seeing how well their bobbing and weaving is and things like that, instead of just bringing them straight to a trial that's kind of difficult enough and just send them down to see what happens. He used a very laissez-faire teaching style when he should have been more in control of the group. Picking the trail lines he should have been picking the trail lines, telling them to go this way and that way, instead of just letting them go along on their own technique and seeing what happens. He pushed Mr. Ahmad to try again after Mr. Ahmad nearly injured himself the first time. So yeah, that's why he got the majority of the blame. The reason Mr. Ahmad got given 20% of the blame himself is he should have known his own capability when he got the first section and He should have known his own capability when he first got to the section, and he should have opted out. Like, yes, he done it the first time and he nearly fell. He should have known from nearly falling the first time that it's out of his skill range, and he shouldn't have attempted it again. But he went further and faster, and that's how he hurt himself. Was the procedure followed? There's no rules saying that you can't bring beginners on certain trials, so the procedure was followed on that. He did have the right equipment on. He had a helmet on. His mountain bike was up to scratch. Like, it wasn't like he was going down on poor equipment or damaged equipment or anything. So it was up to standard. In my opinion, they should bring in new legislation. I don't think they will, because of this happened a while back and there hasn't been any new legislation yet. But I think they should bring in grades for skill levels for mountain biking. So if you're level, if you have a level 3 in mountain biking, you can only go on these grades. And if you have a level 2 in mountain biking, you should only go on these grades. Instead, what it is at the moment is you can pick up a mountain bike and an instructor can bring you on any trail he wants. I feel like the instructor should have given him the option and told him you don't have to do this, instead of egging him on. The instructor was kind of like, oh yeah, do it again, see what happens, like, just go faster. He should have been like, you don't have to do this if you want, but if you want to try it, you can. With the court case, I was happy with the way it ruled, with them both getting blamed, because the instructor was at fault, but I feel like Mr. Ahmad should have got a fair bit of the blame himself because he tried it again. Questions, there's no one here at the moment, but I will send this presentation around, and if any of you want to ask questions, ask me over chat or send me emails. And there's my references, and that's the presentation done.